Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to a breakdown, a total breakdown of the Triplex. For those who have not been watching the series here on YouTube, I purchased a Triplex for $460,000 back in November. It is now just over 3 months. It's been about 3 months and a week since I purchased a property, and we are officially done all of the renovations. If you guys have not watched the series, I strongly recommend going back, watching the first breakdown video and what I thought the renovations were going to be, where we're at now, watch the whole process, and enjoy the series. And I actually did record another video of the completely done all 3 units, but the audio was an absolute mess. It was like my plugin just wasn't in all the way. So I'm going to scrap that. If you guys watched the last video, you pretty much see what the whole thing looks like. But I will say it is fully done. I just left there about 3 hours ago, dropped off like 9 big garbage bins, a few for each unit, and it's official. All 3 units are rented out. 1-year leases are signed. I went through dozens of applications, got some great tenants, and completed all the renovations. So what we're going to do today is it's verdict time. I got the reappraisal. I got the new appraised value. I'm refinancing the property next week. I've already talked with the bank. I'm going in there next week, and I'm going to break down how much I paid for it, how much the renovations cost, what we're getting for rents, what the expenses are, what the return is, all that stuff in this video. This is going to be a lengthy video, but I promise you guys, I think you're going to get a lot out of it, and follow along. Yes, I am using a Word document. I know tons of people are like, dude, where's the Excel? I don't use Excel. I use Word docs. It's what I like. It's my show, all right? It's how I do it. It's how I crunch my numbers, so bear with it. I'll drop it all in there in layman's terms for you. So here we go. Without further ado, let's just jump into it. All right, so paid $460,000 for the property. And basically on day one, I was in for $101,400. That is a $92,000 down payment, so I had to do 20% down. There's deed transfer tax, which is 1.5% of the purchase price. Lawyer fees, inspection fees. It was all in at $101,400. Then, in order for us to get rents where we needed to get them, and to actually get it livable, we had to do some repairs and some upgrades. So when I first bought the property, there was only like, I think 2 stoves and a fridge in there in all 3 units. The roof was completely gone. It was all in one heating system. So there was a lot that needed to be done. So the first thing that we did was we put in a roof, brand new roof, which only cost $57.50, which was a great deal. We also had to do a bunch of plumbing, which was $17,000, almost $18,000 for plumbing work. And that consisted of 3 new toilets. We had to replumb the whole building because it was all on one system. It was on like a hot water heater. And we separated it with 3 separate hot water tanks. We had to run all of them into the different units. It was a ton of work, and we're talking all new sinks. We had to put in washer and dryer in each unit. Just a ton of stuff. It wasn't cheap, but it did cost me $18,000, all under warranty, and had a real professional come in and get it done. So there's that. Then the electrical work, another massive job. It started off a little bit smaller, but the price started going up a little bit as midway through the renovations decided that I wanted to put in 3 heat pumps, along with I got them to do a few little bit of extra work that was not originally on the contract, but they did a ton of stuff. It was a furnace heat before, so we had to add electric baseboard heating for each unit, heat pump. We had to rewire everything. We had to upgrade the service line, which took forever. We had to get the city involved. They had to put in power poles. They had to upgrade the entire service line, which took months. We put in all new panels, 125 amp panels in each unit, plus the common space panel. A ton of electrical work. I mean, you guys got to go back and watch the videos. A lot of work went in, and I really felt like I got my money's worth with the electrical. Next, we had paint. Painted it from top to bottom, and we painted all the windows on the exterior. That was almost $14,000. All new appliances, so stainless steel, stove, fridge, washer, dryer, dishwasher. We had the range hood, all of that stuff. It cost me $11,600. Then we got all new flooring, which was also something I wasn't planning on doing, but I did. It was $6,250 for the flooring, and then another $2,450 in labor, which was $8,700 in total. Then I decided to add in the heat pumps, not only to add value to the property, but also to make the power bills lower for the tenants, which can bring in a little bit more rent. That cost $8,366 for the 3 heat pumps, and that was with installation. Then we have another $13,000 worth of light fixtures, drywall, supplies, garbage bins. We're talking getting a big dump truck bin there for the garbage removal. I put in a little bit of labor in there as well for some of the people that were moving in the appliances. Everything. I mean, all new everything. It's all in there. So whatever miscellaneous costs, I probably should have put miscellaneous, it all went into that category. And towards the end of the project, I found myself spending another $500 here, $1,000 here, $400 here, $300 here. We're talking weather strippings. I got a new front door. Just blinds. I mean, I spent $2,000 worth of blinds alone. We put blinds on every single window. All that is inside there. Then we have the holding costs, which I initially thought was going to be about $6,000. Ended up being $5,000. We got the renovations done pretty quickly, and I got tenants in there pretty fast as well. So actually only cost $5,000 to hold. And holding costs is essentially me paying the mortgage while I'm getting no rent. Insurance costs, power costs, because we were using a bit of power with the contractors and stuff that went in there, water costs, insurance. I don't know if I said that already. And, getting the place plowed as well, because it's wintertime. So all of that was holding costs. I funded it myself, so I didn't take a hard money loan for the renovations. Typically, if you take a hard money loan, you would also be adding in your interest that you'd have to pay on the money that you're borrowing. But I took the money out from another property to go ahead and do all this. So, the holding costs were pretty cheap. Then we had the godforsaken HGTV moment where we had some heavy rain, and it turns out that the whole front of the house was redone by the previous homeowner at some point in the relatively, not too long ago, and they installed all of the windows incorrectly in the front of the house, and they didn't properly seal the house either. So when we got some really bad weather, when we were coming to the end of our renovations, we had a leak, and a pretty substantial one. So what we had to do is we had to take down all of the siding from the front of the house. We had to take out all 3 windows, and they were big windows, reseal everything, reframe the windows completely because they were just in there wrong. We had to properly tie back everything, all new siding. It was a huge job. There were 6 guys there for days getting it done, but we got it done very quickly, and it looks great. Now the whole front of the house, it really did a lot for the curb appeal. So that ended up costing me $10,000. It was like $9,000, and then another bit of labor and supplies was $10,000, which was something that I wasn't expecting, but at the same time, it wasn't anything crazy because I was expecting an oh shit moment at some point during the renovations. It just so happened that it happened at the end. So that's all of the costs for the renovations. And if you total all of those up, I've put in $114,500 in renovations. So I think originally, if I go back and look, I think when I first did the analysis on the property, I was like, oh, I can get this done in $40,000. Then when I actually bought the property, or I put it under contract and got quotes, ended up being like $70,000, and then just adding the heat pumps, adding the floor, the HGTV moment where you're like, oh no, it just kind of added. And then there were just things that I didn't account for. Like when I did my first analysis, I didn't account for garbage. Like just garbage removal alone probably cost me, $800-900, maybe $1,000. A ton of stuff. And another thing that I didn't add into this which I'll talk about later, is my time. I spent a lot of time at this property, and I'll talk about that at the end. But just to keep it simple, we're gonna leave it right like this. So $114,500, which means if I were to not refinance anything, I would have $215,900 of my cash into this property. So that includes the money to get in, the down payment, closing costs, and then another $114,500 for a total of $215,900. So if I didn't touch anything today and I didn't refinance, now we're going to start looking at what the property gets, what it costs me. So I'm just going to do this all in one lump sum here. So we're looking at current expenses for the property. My electric bill's $50 a month, right? Because it's only a little common space, like the lights in the front and the side of the house and the hallways. Everything else is on the tenant. So mine's about a $50 electric bill. And I put $50 a month. It's really not that expensive at all. It's actually significantly cheaper. It'll be, I would say, about $20 a month, but I put 50 just to be very conservative. But $50 a month. Water consumption is $100 a month. Now that's where it could fluctuate, because depending on how much water the tenants use, it could be $80 a month. It could be $120 a month. So I figured if I added a little bit here for the electric, it'll balance it out. So we'll say $100 a month for water. And then we're looking at the mortgage payment right now at a 1.91% variable. It's actually a little bit less than that now, but my mortgage payments currently are $1,780. Maintenance I put at $50 a unit, which is $150 a month. I highly doubt I'll spend that much because the entire place has been gutted. I mean, if you see it, it's been touched. Every single outlet, door handle, baseboard, paint, window, everything has been touched, repaired, or completely replaced 100%. But it's something is going to happen. People are going to break something over time. It might not happen for another 6 months. It might not happen for another 2 years, but I put in there for $150 a month in maintenance, $140 a month for insurance, and then I have a snow removal there for $100 a month because I pay my snow guy $1,200 basically for the year, and he does all that. He does the shoveling, the salt, all that stuff. So a total monthly expense of $2,320. So $2,320 is what it costs me to operate the building all in, and these are conservative numbers. Might actually be like $2,250, but we're doing on the high end just so that I can show you guys doomsday scenario type thing in terms of a monthly expense. So how much does the rental income bring? Well, it's officially locked in, and I am getting $1,500 a month for the 2-bedroom. And what's nice about the 2-bedroom is they have their own storage room as well, which added a little bit of value. The 3-bedroom in the middle unit is going for $1,550, and the 3-bedroom for the top unit is going for $1,600. Now, the reason why the middle one's a little bit cheaper is because I was about to lose out on half a month's rent if I waited any longer to get a good tenant. So I did a $50 drop in price because everybody wants the bottom and top units. The middle units are always the toughest one to sell or to rent out. Now, I had dozens of applications at $1,600 for the middle unit, but I didn't have anybody that really met the qualifications that I look for in a tenant, especially with COVID. A lot of people didn't have jobs that they could prove that they had income, and some people had 4 kids and they're smokers and they're trying to get in with a dog, and I don't want dogs in this building. So I lowered it $50, got another huge wave of applications, had a guy that was willing to pay $1,600, but he does plowing for a living. So this plow expense come next year is actually going to be cheaper because this guy's going to end up plowing the place for me, and I have another triplex not far from there. He's going to plow that as well. So we're working out a deal where this actually expense is going to be no more, and we're going to have him work it out. So I gave him a bit of a deal, got it for $1,550, and the top unit $1,600, which means I'm bringing in a total of $4,650 a month in income. right? So after expenses, so we're going to take the 4650 minus the 2320, which gives us a monthly cash flow of 2330 a month. So every single month, if I didn't refinance and I left 215,900 in, I would be making $2,330 a month in cash flow, which means it would be a total, if you times that by 12, because there's 12 months in a year, I'd be making $27,960 a year, which would mean I would get a return on my money, so a cash-on-cash return of 12.95%, right? So, of course, I don't want to leave this much money in there. I can take out when I refinance next week, I'm going to take out a bunch of this money, and then I can buy another property with that money and make an even better return. So I just wanted to show you guys what it would be like if I didn't touch anything today, and that's what we get. So if we take the 27,960 a year from the positive cash flow, and we divide that into the 215,900, and we times that by 100, you're going to get a 12.95% return, or I would, on my money. Not very appealing to me, though. Too much money in there. The name of the game is to have as little bit of capital in as possible with maximum returns so that we make the most. So we are going to refinance, and I did get the appraisal done, and I do have it back, which I'm going to show you guys right now. So once again, guys, we paid $460,000 for the property. We put in a total of $114,500 in renovations, which means right now we're kind of all in at $574,500, right? So that's basically from the purchase price and adding in the renos. This is theoretically what we have into the property. Now, we got the new ARV, all right, of $630,000. I will say I was not I wouldn't say I was upset by this. I know the property is worth a lot more, and I'll tell you guys that later. But the banks right now are being, and I'm with an A lender. If I was using a credit union, this would have came up, and I had gotten a private appraiser and to go in there. This would have been higher. But the A lenders, they always go with the lowest comparable so that they take the minimal risk. This is just what I've been dealing with Scotiabank. I have a great relationship with them, but they are always overly conservative because they don't want to loan out too much money and have a potential problem on their hands. So they, there's been ARVs comparables comps of my current property at $700,000, $750,000, $770,000, but they came in at $630,000, which is fine. It just means I'm going to have a little bit more money into the deal, but I'm going to go through the numbers and kind of show you where we're at. Now, when I originally did it, my worst case scenario, when I did the numbers, was a $600,000 ARV, so after repair value, and it came up $30,000 beyond that, so I'm okay with it. So my current loan amount on the $460,000, because I have 20% in, is my current mortgage is $365,000. It's a little bit less than that now that I've been paying down some, but we're just going to say $365,000. Remember, I do have 20% in already, which is $92,000. So when you add those things in, you're pretty much at the $460,000. And we're going to do I already got all of it set up with the bank. We're going to do the new purchase price of $630,000, 80% loan to value, so LTV, which means our new mortgage will be of $540,000. Now I have to leave 20% in, which is like what, $126,000, and my new interest rate is 1.6% fixed for 4 years. So in Canada, you can do a 1 year, 2 year, 4 year, 5 year fix. You can't go beyond 5 years. Like in the States, you can do 30-year fix. In Canada, it's just the way it is. So I have 1.6% locked in. I actually just refinanced another property last week at 1.6%. So they're going to do the same rate. We're going to be taking out a loan of $504,000. My current loan is $365,000, which means I will be able to pull out $139,000 in equity I'm able to take out of the deal. So when I go to refinance next week, they will write me a check. Well, actually, they'll wire it to my account. They'll wire me $139,000 because that's what I'm able to take out of the property since I added all this value. And if we take a look here a little bit more, I'm just going to scroll down here. So we're going to take out 139. The total renovations was 114,500. The down payment was 101. We're all in for 215, right? We're able to pull out 139,000. And what we're going to be left with into the deal after we pull out the 139,000 is $76,900. So 139,000 plus 76,900 is the 215.90. So this is the difference, right? We have 215 in. We're pulling out 139 of it, which means we'll have left on the deal $76,900. Now, remember when we first bought the property, we had 101 in on day one. That was all of that. So we managed to actually take out all of our renovation costs and a little bit. So it's not the perfect BRRRR. The perfect BRRRR, which is very, very hard to obtain, and I would have if the dang price would have came back at like over 700K. But the idea of the BRRRR strategy, which is what I did, the buy, renovate, rent out, refinance, repeat, is to actually get this full 215 out, right? And we would have if we got a better appraisal on the property, but we didn't. But we got out a lot. We got out all of our renovation money and some, which means, you know, we added like $55,000 in value, right? Because we have 574. The after repair value is 630. The difference is 55,500 in value. So we created, you know, 55,500 in just equity, just from the blood, sweat, and tears we put in there. And all that fun stuff. So that's what now we have into the deal. So now that we have that into the deal, you guys keeping along? I know I'm talking pretty fast, but I'm breaking it down line by line for you. And you can watch this video a couple of times to really get the hang of it and really understand what I'm saying. So now that we have a new mortgage, it means and our mortgage is higher, it means our mortgage payment and taxes will be a little bit higher. Now, our taxes aren't going to change right away. That takes a year, sometimes 2-3 years to actually change on you know, just from a database. It will eventually go up. Our mortgage payments, though, will go up immediately. So remember, our electric bill isn't going to change. Our water bill isn't going to change. Our maintenance isn't going to change. Our insurance isn't going to change. And our snow removal is not going to change. What will change, though, is our new mortgage payment and taxes, right? So before, our mortgage payment and taxes, what I have right now is $1,780. Now that we're taking out and loaning more money, right, because we were only loaning $365 now, but next week I'll be loaning $504, the mortgage payments are actually going to go up about $500, right? So now everything, when you adjust for all this and you now add in the new mortgage rate, our total monthly expenses have gone from $2,320 to $2,890, right? So it's a little bit more to operate, but our rental income hasn't changed because we still have the same tenants. We're still getting the same rent, $1,500 for the one bedroom, $1,550 for the $1,500 for the two bedroom, $1,550 for the three bedroom in the middle, and $1,600 for the three bedroom at the top, for a total of $4,650, which means when you take your $2,890 and you take that away from the $4,650, or the other way around, you get a total monthly cash on cash return. So cash flow, you get total monthly cash flow of $1,760. So after I pull out $140,000 in cash, or $139,000 in cash, I am still going to get, I should probably put this as cash flow so I don't confuse you guys. I am still going to make every single month $1,760 a month. Now, when you times that by 12, because there's 12 months in a year, right? 1760 times 12, you're going to get $21,120 a year in cash flow. So that's what I'm going to get in cash. Now, when we take this 21,120 and we divide that into the cash we have into the property, remember, we're taking 139 out. So now we only have 76,900 in. We divide that by 76,900 times that by 100. We are going to be getting a cash on cash return of 27.4%, which is insane. So I am going with only $76,900 into the deal after the cash out refinance. I will be making a 27.4% return on my $76,900. Plus, I got that $139 in cash to go out and buy the next property for another down payment. Now, this is where we're going to get a little bit deeper. That's just the cash on cash return. Now we're going to start getting into the principal pay down. So out of that, about $1,150, maybe a little bit more, we're being conservative, $1,150 of this mortgage payment, right, is going to go towards the principal. So some of it's interest, some of it's principal, but $1,150 a month is going to be collected from the tenants paying down my mortgage for me. So $1,150 times that by 12 months in a year, that's about another $13,800 a year I'm going to be making from principal pay down, which is basically like a little savings account. And then in 4 years, when my 4-year fixed term is up, I can go ahead and refinance that property again if I want and pull out all of that money that they've been paying down for 4 years, which would be this times 4, plus appreciation, and do it all over again, right? If I want to. So then we're going to look at appreciation. So if we look at appreciation of 3% a year on $630,000, we're looking at $18,900 a year, right? So 630,000 times that by 0.03, $18,900 a year just in appreciation. And guys, 3% is very, 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 very conservative for my market. Last year, a lot of my properties, anywhere from 8 to 12% return in appreciation. Our market is crazy hot. There's no inventory. We have thousands and thousands of people moving here every year. It's booming. It's insane. And our market is super, super hot. So at 3%, I'm just being conservative. And then if we add up all three, so if we add up the 1890 or the 18900, the 13800, and the 21120 in cash flow, that's $53,820 a year. And we divide that into what we have into the property in cash, which is the $76.90 after we do the cash out refinance. That would make a total return of 69.98% a year. So just after a year and a couple of months, I will have back all of my money, theoretically, because I actually won't be able to tap into that because it'll be the appreciation and the principal paydown is locked in until my 4-year term is up. But the cash on cash return is almost 30%, which means after 3.5 years, three years and some change, we'll say 3.5 years, I'll have my full $76,900 out in cash already just from the rents and the cash flow that I'm bringing in. And then not too long later, I'll be refinancing it and pulling out, probably another 100,000 maybe. I don't know. I'd have to go through the numbers here, but I'll be able to pull out even more if I want to. And there'll become a point in time where I'll no longer do any more refinances and I'll just let the properties pay themselves down, right? And then have a retirement there. Right now, I'm in a growing phase and I'm finally able to do refinances, which is allowing me to go and buy more properties because I don't have infinite capital to just buy. Like I can't buy another property now until I get this cash out refinance from this. And I got a small cash out refinance of 60 grand last week. And that was from a 4-year hold. So I was finally able to pull all that money out. And on that property, I was in for $45,000. So now I've managed to pull out all my money and some, plus all that cash flow I got for the 4 years at that property. And now my profit is infinite because I have no money in anymore. And it's still cash flowing, $300 a month. So that's the power of real estate in the long term. Now, what do I do with all this money? Do I go and buy a new car? Do I put money in my pocket and go spend it and take trips? No, I haven't taken a cent for me. I've just reinvested every single dollar that I've ever made in real estate and put it back into real estate. And I don't plan to take anything out until I'm done with my streaming career and all the and the other things I do, and I want to retire. That's why I'm doing this. So I'm delaying the gratification now so that in another 7 years, when I'm 6-7 years, when I'm 40, maybe in my early 40s, and I want to slow down, I'll have some cash flowing assets in real estate that will bring me and pay for my living expenses so that I can have freedom. And that's why I do this. Now, the $630,000 ARV is very, very conservative. And here's why. If I sold this privately today or on the market for $700K, it would sell immediately. If I were to put this on the market today for $700,000, there'd be a bidding war, and it would probably go for probably around $730, would be my guess. And here's why I get to this conclusion from an investor standpoint. If I sold today for $700K privately, I have $574.5 in right now, right? So if we were to add up the 460 plus the 114.5, it's a total of 574.5. If I sold it for $700K, I would walk away with $125,500 in profit. Now, that's if I did it privately because you don't have to pay realtor fees. But then, of course, I have to pay capital gains on it if I were to sell, right? Now that I'm pulling out this 139, I don't pay capital gains on that because it isn't realized as a profit until I sell the property. Now, eventually, if and when I do sell the property, I will have to pay gains on that difference eventually. But that's the power of real estate, is you're deferring those taxes, and you're using things like depreciation and stuff to offset taxes that come through. Once again, I'm not a tax expert, so please speak to your own tax advisor about all of this, because different provinces and different states have different rules, and I'm not here to. I don't even really like talking about taxes because it's so different in different areas. But I'm just, for layman's terms, if I were to sell this today, I'd make about $125,500 on something that I just bought 3 months ago, right? And that's at $700. It would go for more. And here's the reason why I believe it would. Because at $700,000, it would give an investor a cash flow of $1,360 a month and a cash-on-cash return of 10.8%. And here's how I got to there. So with a price of $700,000 and 20% down, the person that would buy the property would have to put down $140,000. That's 20% of $700, and then another $10,000 in closing costs. So that's your deed transfer tax, everything that I talked about up here, right? Your deed transfer tax, your lawyer, inspector, all that stuff would be another $10,000. So they would be in the deal for a total of $150K, right? And their mortgage payments would be even higher than mine, and I've done all the calculations and stuff. So their cash flow wouldn't quite be what I'm getting, where, I'm cash flowing $1,760, because my mortgage payments would be a lot cheaper, because I'm taking out a loan for $504,000. They'd be taking out a loan for more than that, because the purchase price is higher. So their cash flow would be at about $1,360, right? Which is still an amazing amount of cash flow a month. And that's at a 10.8%. So if they were to invest $150K, they would get a 10.8% cash on cash return. There's not a lot. That's just cash on cash. That's not including that principal pay down of the tenants paying down their mortgage and appreciation, which would bring the total up of, triple that almost. You know what I mean? Actually, it would be like damn near triple it. So that's why I'm saying at 700K, it's still a steal. People will buy properties right now if it cash flows 6%, 7%, because the appreciation is so strong and it's a brand new asset. It's just been completely gutted. So honestly, I could probably, if I were to sell it privately, I could definitely get 700K, no problem. Probably 725. If I put it on the market, it may go even higher than that to the right investor. So obviously, I'm not selling the property. I'm a buy and hold guy. I would regret selling that at 700K and taking a measly, I shouldn't say measly because it's a lot of money, taking 125,500, or if it sold at 725, 150,000 in profit. It's a big profit, but remember, that's only short term. When I hold on to this property for the next 10 years, it's going to make this $125,000 or $150,000 gain today, plus you pay taxes on it, look like nothing because of the power of the hold, right? Because you're looking at 21,120 a year just in cash flow. And remember, rents go up over time. So, next year rent might be, $1,525, $1,600, $1,625. And then a year after that, rents are going to keep rising. Eventually they will cap out, and expenses are going to be lower, over time. So that's just where I'm at. And also that's assuming with a maintenance fee of 150. Now I go ahead and manage my own properties, right? So with this price here, I'm assuming that they're going to manage their own property as well. So that's at a 10.8%. So maybe they're spending an extra few $100s a month in a property management company. Then that would bring this return down, maybe down a couple of points, but still, it still would be a very, very solid investment. So there it is, guys. That is the official verdict on the triplex. Let me know what you guys think. There won't be any more videos on the property simply because it's done and people are living there now. Everybody's moved in. Thank you so much for following this series. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some more videos on other properties I have. I'm going to talk about another cash out refinance that I just did last week. And then I'm going to take a little breather from real estate because I am burnt out. If I'm just being honest, I spent a lot of time. I overworked myself. This is a side gig for me. And with streaming and my voiceover work and this and a family, I was really, really testing myself. And there were a few times and that I was like, man, I don't know. I shouldn't say I don't know if I can do this because I knew I was going to do it, but I'm like, damn, I didn't realize what I'm getting myself into. So yeah, it was a challenge for sure. And the last thing is my time. I probably lost about $10,000 on the high end, $12,000, $13,000 from working, from being at the property. I didn't add that into here. So if you were to add in another $10,000, $1,200, $12,000, in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't change the numbers all that much at all. You might, it's very minimal. But here's the thing. The reason why I wanted to be there so much is because I wanted to learn. And I can tell you guys, on the next renovation, the big gut job in BRRRR I do, I'm going to save thousands of dollars just learning from the mistakes that I made here. Because there are expenses and things that I did that I could have done better, that I could have shopped around a little bit better. But I took what I could get, especially in COVID where everybody's booked. Some people aren't working. It was just one of those things where I just said, you know what? I'm going to get the right guys and gals to do this stuff. It's going to cost me a little bit more, but I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it done in a timely manner because the longer I hold this renovation, the more my holding costs are going to be and the less I'm going to make on rent. So I wanted to get it done and get it done as fast as possible, and we did. So that's why I spent so much time here. And that $10,000, $12,000 hit I did in my personal income from just not working as much, it's going to come back in spades just from experience and just being a contractor, taking those phone calls, dealing with people. I feel as though I'm really good at it to begin with, but I've learned so much. And another thing that I didn't say is my dad did so much work the last month and a half of this project. He did all of the grunt work. He did the patching, the sanding. I mean, you know, he was fixing things all over the place that saved me thousands of dollars. My dad didn't charge me a cent. We got to have a great bonding time together. I love hanging out with my old man. He's a contractor, so he knows the business. We got to use some of his employees that they came in and helped out. Obviously, I paid them, but, you know, my dad did everything for free. He spent almost every day, I would say 5 days a week, at this property, in some cases 7 days a week, after he was done his full-time job, coming over and helping me out. And same with my mom. She did all the cleaning in the end. So it was a family effort, and I couldn't have done it without them at this speed. And so I'm forever grateful. I just wanted to give a shout out to my parents, although they'll never watch this, but it just goes to show you really need to have people in your corner, and you gotta partner yourself with the right people so that you can get the job done and get it done with confidence, and going into a project with confidence. I knew I was in good hands at the very least because my dad knows so much and I could learn so much from him. So obviously when I do this cash out refinance and stuff, I'm gonna do something nice for my dad, but you know, he did everything out of love, and he just wanted to hang out with his boy and have a good time. And we did, man. We had a lot of laughs. We learned a lot. And, you know, we look forward to doing the next one, but not right away. I need a break. So there it is, guys. One hell of a learning experience. Hit that like button if you guys enjoyed the series, and we'll definitely be doing more. Hit me up with any questions below. And, yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Peace out.